For families caring for children with special needs, life is this constant, often invisible marathon. It's built on love, for sure, but also on a whole lot of logistics and intense pressure. This isn't just typical parenting. It's round-the-clock caregiving that asks for everything you've got. So what happens when the caregivers themselves are the ones who need a hand? That's what we're going to get into. This quote from a caregiver just nails the core of the problem, doesn't it? It's this impossible choice. Do you go with someone who's qualified but a total stranger, or a family member you trust who might not have the specific skills needed? This one dilemma perfectly sums up the hidden crisis that so many families are facing every single day. And that feeling of being stretched to your absolute limit, it's not just a feeling, it's a very real condition. The constant demand of caregiving creates this overload that needs a real structural solution. It's not something you can fix with just good wishes or someone telling you to, take a break. Okay, so there's actually a clinical term for this: parenting stress. And this isn't your everyday run-of-the-mill stress of raising kids. We're talking about a specific, measurable state where the child's needs constantly feel like they're way beyond the parent's resources to cope. Think about it like being in a state of high alert all the time. Now, let's add another layer to this: immense financial strain. On top of all the emotional and physical work, one study found that 54% of families with children who have developmental disabilities were living on an annual income of less than $30,000. That kind of financial pressure just pours gasoline on an already burning fire. And here's where it gets really serious. When you have these high levels of parenting stress, and you combine them with strained family relationships, the risk for a crisis and even maltreatment goes way up. And look, this isn't about blaming anyone. It's about recognizing a reality. Even the most loving, dedicated caregivers can be pushed past their breaking point if they don't have the right support. The stakes are just incredibly high. So if the problem is this relentless marathon, what's the solution? Well, it's more than just a quick water break. It's a real support system designed from the ground up to give caregivers a chance to actually recover. Let's talk about that lifeline: respite care. At its heart, respite care is a pretty simple idea. It's a formal service that offers a safe, alternative place for your child. And what that does is it allows the primary caregivers to get some essential time away. And that time isn't a luxury, it's a critical part of being able to provide care for the long haul. And respite isn't a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. It can look like a skilled provider coming right into your home, or maybe it's a drop-in center that offers a safe space for a few hours. It can even be overnight care for those much-needed longer breaks. That variety is so important because every single family has different needs. Okay, this all sounds great in theory, right? But does it actually work? Does it move the needle in a meaningful way? Let's take a look at what the research has to say about how effective respite care really is. When you dig into the research, you find a bit of a complicated picture. The promise is so clear: reduce stress, improve family well-being, but in reality, the evidence can be a little inconsistent. Some studies show a clear benefit, but others kind of struggle to measure the impact, and that's often because it's just really hard to study these kinds of complex services. But, and this is a big but, there is one area where the impact is powerfully clear. Multiple studies show a strong connection between families getting respite care and a lower number of kids ending up in out-of-home placements, like foster care. To put it simply, giving families a break helps keep families together. And that's not just a good thing to do, it saves everyone the massive emotional and financial costs of the state care system. Okay, so if we know respite care is this critical lifeline that can literally keep families intact, why isn't every family that needs it getting it? Well, it's because trying to get this supposedly simple solution can feel like you're trying to find your way through a maze blindfolded. This data from a survey in Oregon is just wow. It's so revealing. Look at this. A full 50%, half of the youth, couldn't get respite for one simple reason: there were no providers in their area. This isn't about families not wanting help. It's a fundamental breakdown, a shortage of available, appropriate care. And the barriers aren't just about geography. For so many families from different backgrounds, you have systemic issues like language barriers that create these huge walls. I mean, if a provider and a family can't even communicate, how in the world are you supposed to build trust? How can a parent ever feel safe leaving their child? All of this feeds into what you could call a trust deficit. A lot of communities, especially ones that have been historically let down by official systems, have a really deep-seated lack of trust. So when you add the fact that families often have to find and vet a provider all on their own, plus that gut-level fear of leaving your child with a stranger, you can see why so many just give up.
So recognizing these barriers, that's step one. Step two is actually doing the work to tear them down. So what do the experts and, more importantly, the families themselves say we need to do to build a system that actually works for everybody?
Well, the path forward really seems to have four main lanes. First, we have to treat respite providers like the skilled professionals they are. That means better training and better pay. Second, organizations need to do the hard work of building real, authentic trust in diverse communities. Third, the information has to be easy to find and easy to understand. And finally, fourth, we need big systemic policy changes to open up who's eligible and how these vital services get funded. And honestly, this point right here, it cannot be stressed enough. Just imagine you're completely overwhelmed, you're stressed out, you're exhausted. The very last thing you have the energy for is trying to figure out bureaucratic jargon on some government website. A simple, step-by-step guide in plain language could be an absolute game changer for so many families who are just lost in the system right now. So where can you turn for help? The Arch National Respite Network and Resource Center is a fantastic place to start for information and support. And for more immediate help, 24 hours a day, there's a great new resource called Stella, the Special Needs Concierge, which you can find at askstellanow.org. These are really crucial tools for families trying to navigate this journey. And all of this leaves us with one final, really important question. We depend on millions of family caregivers to hold up a huge piece of our healthcare and social support systems. They're an essential and mostly unpaid force. So how can we, as a society, move beyond just saying we appreciate them to actually structurally and meaningfully caring for them?